Thank you. Welcome everybody to the Economic and Industry Development Committee for March 2023. You can see the members are all in attendance. Thank you. And not necessary, my voice is booming. And there are no apologies. Now I will move on to the acknowledgement of country. Ipswich City Council respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners as custodians of the land upon which we meet. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging as the keepers of the traditions, cultures and stories of a proud people. Now, any declarations of interest on matters on the agenda today? No. Moving on to item 1, which is business outstanding. It's the response to notice of motion for the Event Friendly Council. And would anyone like to speak to, Council Officer, Mr. Poll?
Sorry, I thought you were going to ask for moving. My apologies, I don't need to ask any questions. Thank you.
No questions? Okay, I do have questions. Sorry, Mr. I just wanted to see your moves, and they're lovely. You stood up, you sat down, you stood up, that's all, sorry. I just had too much sugar.
Thank you, Chair. Mayor, Councillors, Ben Poll, General Manager, Community, Cultural and Economic Development.
Thank you, Ben. Just in relation to what you've included as a response for the Event Friendly Council, looking at the processes of the officers internally, which is fantastic, but moving forward when we're, what I'm hearing is that we're really looking for that kind of the user end experience to be updated as well, and then having conversations with you previously about the customer experience strategy and how that's coming along. I can see how that will tie in really well, but having that cohesive one location for all of that clash event mapping that you've come back with, those pre-approved teal locations, and then some templates for organisers as well, small, medium and large. Is that something that we're going to be striving for?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Chair. And again, thanks for the notice of motion. It really set into motion a number of areas of the organisation to look at this and try to streamline back-end processes. But also, as you've mentioned, it aligns perfectly with the CX program of work, because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is have these clients, customers, members of the public who want to do great things in our city, just make it easier for them to do that. So part of it, as it's been outlined in the report, relates to streamlining TEALs, pre-approving locations, putting forward an events calendar so people can see what's on and try to avoid clashes or even build on what's currently there. But the ultimate outcome, and so that was the response to the notice of motion, what processes could be streamlined. We've kind of delved into that. The way that we see it, I suppose, eventually coming to life is there'll be a one-stop shop where anything to do with events, whether that be applying for a permit, a TEAL, a pre-approved precinct, applying for funding even, is all captured into one area and makes it just that much easier, but also more consistent and obvious for those that are trying to do this kind of work in our city. So that's better for the consumer. It's also much better for the officers and the back-end processes.
Yeah, great. There's also other LGAs that have got that one landing page, and then they've got like links to tips on how to market or promote their event, etc. So it's really cohesive and striving for that. So thank you so much for the work so far. Anyone else had any questions?
Just a question with regards to how we manage local laws in this context, noting that the local laws review is only slated in 2024. How quickly are we reasonably going to turn something like this around without that review taking place? Is this some? I know it only mentions local law number 3. Is that something that's able to be looked at in isolation and amended before the entire review of all of the local laws, or will we need to wait until that happens?
I'll talk out of my area of expertise here, but in the engagement that I had in the development of these recommendations with compliance, they were the ones that recommended we look at that particular local law and that there could be an amendment to that particular local law. It's not a revision as such, it's more of a minor amendment. So again, talking outside of my area of technical expertise, the indication was that it could be amended rather than waiting for the full review.
Thanks, Mr. Paul. Any other questions? No. I'll seek a mover. Thank you, Mayor. And I'll seek a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Doyle. Open for discussion, Mayor?
Thank you, Chair. I'm very pleased to see this response today. It's paving the way to ensure that Ipswich becomes a destination of choice for major events, but also the medium size as well and the smaller. I put this notice of motion forward in October last year because I know that major events and those other events that grow mean big business for Ipswich. It means local jobs, economic uplift and a great opportunity to profile our region. CMC Rocks Queensland, which returns to Ipswich next week, is a great example of this. We know that Ipswich is a great place to host major events and we do it really well. This outcome will give event organisers easier and more reliable access to event locations while reducing the amount of red tape currently required to host an event. It's very important for the city that we tailor our approach to major events so that we can attract the kinds of entertainment that injects millions of dollars into our economy. We're a welcoming city when it comes to events, with a track record for delivering world-class events, so it'd be great to see this streamlined. I also note the potential list of 6, I guess, council properties that are looking at becoming pre-approved precincts. I think it's great and very open to suggestions from the community if there are other areas. I also note in the report the other venues that are not council-owned. Again, it'd be great to see that expand as well. So obviously support this motion and think it's a great step forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mayor. Definitely fleshing out the recommendation A and seeking guidance. I know that the department seeking guidance from the councillors and divisional councillors specifically on other locations that they want to add in there. And I think moving forward, there's a real synergy to actually lead people to better locations that they may not already know exist. Then we've got that ability to streamline investments and make these sites even better. So it's fundamentally a little bit of a financial strategy as well in the background too, which I always love. So no other discussion? No, I'll move to the vote. Those in favour? It's unanimous and carried. Thank you. Now, just moving on to item 2, which is a confirmation of the minutes of the Economic and Industry Development Committee from February the 9th, 2023. Any discussion? No?
I'll move that they be noted, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Fechner. Any seconder? Thank you, Mayor. Discussion? No. Great. All those in favour? Wonderful. It's unanimous and carried. On to item number 3 now, which is the Main Street Australia Ipswich Street Show. And it's not always all in a name, I guess, so I'd really love to call up the relevant officer in relation to this item. Thank you. I did have a chat about this and I was a bit surprised on what it actually entails. So can you kind of just give the committee a bit of a run through, like flesh out what this means?
Certainly. Good morning, Chair, Mayor and Councillors. Thank you for the opportunity. So Main Street Australia run an annual event. This year they're taking that annual conference on the road, and Ipswich is the first city to secure a street show, which we've labelled Shopfront Savvy. So Shopfront Savvy is a half-day workshop combining a walking and talking tour with industry experts. We've identified 2 locations, one in Springfield Central, the second in Ipswich Central. The experts will analyse and review those locations and provide tips and advice, followed then by a live panel session, breakout workshops, networking and dinner. Why we're doing this is the combination of business Ipswich inquiries, general observations and feedback from business forums where we identified gaps consistent with traditional front-facing bricks and mortar retail skills in delivering the best possible environment. The event also intentionally coincides with Small Business Month and is a specific example of the implementation of the Council's economic development strategy by working with businesses and landowners to foster investment and growth. Desired outcomes for businesses to have new skills, knowledge and confidence to implement change, for them to feel empowered and supported in their business, which will ultimately increase productivity and prosperity.
Wonderful, thank you. I think that it's great that we've got two zones, 2 precincts, 2 hubs, vastly different, but they be able to learn from each other as well.
Absolutely, and that was the expert panels that's been selected. 4 of them, across all of them, will be able to cover off precinct activation and then your commercial franchise version of a retail store, which is sort of in a shopping centre, and then the traditional high street shopfront bricks and mortar style. So all of that will be covered off through all the speakers. So will be marketed to the entire LGA, so for the retail focus, so everyone can get something out of it.
Amazing. Looking forward to Small Business Month. Thanks,
Yes,
Naomi.
it's going to be great.
Any other questions? No? Oh, Mayor, sorry.
Did you have a question? Thank you, Ms George. Obviously, it's the first time, so I'm just asking some questions so I have a better understanding. You talked about a half-day workshop. Mm-hmm. Is it a half-day in Ipswich Central and then another one in Springfield Central, or are they being run concurrently? How is that happening?
No, we're going to, initially it was just Ipswich Central, so then through looking at the time frame that we've got, they're arriving at 12, so we were able to get them to stop at Springfield on the way through, and so working with the 2 chambers, they will, Layla and a board member will represent in Springfield along with ourselves. And then they'll come into Ipswich Central and we'll probably, across Brisbane Street, we'll do the same walk and talk tour. So we're sort of splitting that walk and talk tour out. So that will take up a few hours. And then we'll move down into the Dandiri room, which is where they'll do that panel Q&A session and then have the workshops to break out and go through those identified issues or concerns or opportunities. And then we'll have networking and dinner.
Okay. So is the 15,000 covering all the costs, not just Main Street, it's also the dinner,
We have budgeted $1,000 for marketing and for catering.
Okay.
So that's on top of the 15,000.
On top of that, okay. How many people from Main Street Australia will be coming out, do you know?
One person,
One
Elizabeth,
person?
is from Main Streets Australia and she has economic development background as well as,
Right.
20 years industry experience.
Right. And that the $15,000 is the cost for that one person?
Oh, no, that includes the 3 other panels.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
That's a pleasure.
Thank you. So I'm happy to move that item.
Just before you do, Chair, I'm sorry, there was mention of this roadshow potentially going up Brisbane Street. Therefore, I will declare a conflict of interest. So in accordance with Section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act of 2009, I, Councillor Andrew Fechner, inform the meeting that I may have a declarable conflict of interest in this item. The nature of the declarable conflict of interest are my business interests in both A1A Events Proprietary Limited and by Heisenberg Proprietary Limited. I will leave it up to my councillors to decide on my fate in the meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Fechner.
So just, Chair, just confirming this recommendation's about a report, isn't it? It's not making a financial decision or a recommendation for anything other than...
So the recommendation is
just noting the report, I think.
the report concerning the mainstream be received and contents noted. So I'm happy to move that Councillor Fechner remains in the meeting to discuss and vote. Thank you, Councillor Kunzelman. I'll take that to the vote. All those in favour? Wonderful, unanimous and carried. Apart from Councillor Fechner. Thank you. Thank you for that. So moving on to that item now, I'll move that. Can I grab a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Doyle, and open that for discussion.
Thank you, Chair. What a wonderful example of how local government can support our local small businesses. Activating their shop fronts, the bricks and mortar, that's really important for their success. And yeah, delighted that we can bring in some experts to help them along.
Yeah, I think that retail is so massive. It's such a big contributor to our economy here in Ipswich, and then it's really hard sometimes to add value to retailers. And so I think this being a little bit different but very hands-on and organic, so that they get a feel of what we have to offer and can give some valued feedback. I really praise the team for bringing this along. And you know how we love our first year at Ipswich, ladies and gents, so thank you again. But really excited for Small Business Month if this is going to be part of it.
With the facade improvement program that we've seen, along with helping with, activating shop fronts. Yeah, great.
Yeah, wonderful. Any further discussion? No?
Yeah, I'm particularly interested to see how the organisation manages to get the panel along to as many small businesses as possible. I think it's really important that there is the door-to-door approach, because small business owners are busy. They don't have time to think about these things. There's a reason why they're lacking in so many of these spaces, including marketing and that branding thing. They're too busy working in their businesses rather than on them. So us actually fronting the business owners to talk about our value proposition, I think getting that right is going to be important. But if we do, I think it'll be really well received. It's not just another thing that's coming in the mail, not another survey that we have to fill out, but some genuine people looking to make, valuable contributions to our small businesses. I think that's the key to this, and it's really good.
That's a really good point. Thank you, Councillor Fechner. And I think that even if the small businesses can't attend, then if we could have a way to circulate the knowledge share afterwards, I think that would be really important. Thank you. Any other discussion? No. So I'll move that matter to the vote now. All those in favour? Unanimous and carried. Thank you. So last but not least, item 4, Planes, Trains and Autos 2023 program preview. I was going to wear a car shirt today, but I could not choose between the XY or the Monaro, so I just went corporate. Sorry. I know. I'm going to have to make a hybrid, I think. So I am happy to bring an officer up in relation to this item, just to get the full experience. Thanks, Miss Gregory.
Like you're a rock star and PTA really loud into the mic.
Yeah. And I am not wearing a Monaro t-shirt, nor do I own one. I don't know what that says about me. No. Good morning, Carly Gregory, Manager of Marketing and Promotions. I just thought I'd bring this to you this month as a preview for what's in the PTA program. As we know, it is the 3rd year of PTA as part of our city events plan. And the team are beyond excited this year because post-pandemic and post-floods, we've been able to truly flesh this out with a full long weekend program from the Friday to the Monday this year, which is amazing. So probably some of the highlights is Australian Superbike Championships are coming back to the city. They did a sort of flying visit last year on the back of some flood-related moves and found a home at Queensland Raceway, and we're very happy there, as were the punters who attended. So that's coming back from the Friday to the Sunday, which is fabulous. It's fabulous from an overnight visitation point of view. it's fabulous just to have those people in town filling restaurants. Those bookings are coming through, we're knowing from an ITOM perspective, which is very exciting. Our accommodation houses are full, which is great. On the Friday night, we're having a meet and greet because it aligns with Tunes on Toolma in our Nicholas Street precinct, which is a great opportunity to bring people into our CBD and see the redeveloped site, which is fabulous. Saturday, the hero, Planes, Trains and Auto at the Workshops Railways. It is fabulous to see TEQ come on board and sponsor that event for the first time this year, which is really significant. And I think it's going a long way for us working with those kind of neighbours to really make a case for investment in that site from a state government point of view, and for us to really showcase that as a destination as we know it is in our city.
Absolutely.
That just continues to grow. We sell around 10,000 tickets, low-cost tickets to that event. We ticket it because it's so popular. And we have to cap it. So that's exciting. Every other day my team's coming back. We have a mini jet plane there this year. We're looking for some of our big boys' toys from council to be at that event. As we know, the sandpit, the live sandpit for kids is a pretty popular event. So that's all going really, really well. And then on Saturday night, sort of the post-PTA party, we're able to have an activation park and pose at the moment in the Nicholas Street precinct. There's lots happening in town on that Saturday night, and another activation at Pump Yard, so that when we have all those people in the CBD, there's lots to see and do. And
I'll
then,
get you a HK Monaro shirt for that night.
thank you. On Sunday, the Queensland Auto Spectacular's back at Willowbank Raceway, which is great again. And I think the really nice addition this year on the Monday is a retro picnic, cars and retro picnic. So live entertainment, it'll be beautiful. And that's a really nice partnership between Only Good Times Co. that already do some events locally very well, and Club Parkview. So that's going to be at home at Goodna, which will be a beautiful day out. So for us, just with a citywide remit, to see us building this out across all of our city is really exciting.
So exciting. It speaks volumes about Ipswich, right? That we've got a festival like this and it's so successful. But I really love how we're getting involved with our equipment as well this year too. Noting that Gold Coast do that where they open their equipment sheds. And I think that how many kids don't want to see some of those that...
An Ipswich waste truck?
Yeah, the trucks, you know. Everyone
action.
wants to see one.
That's right.
So yeah, thank you so much. Any other questions for Miss Gregory? Nope, wonderful.
Sorry, Miss Gregory, just picking up on the TEQ funding and as a sign of things to come in the future, potentially attracting more funding.
Correct.
Thinking more broadly, not just about PTA, but, you know, the city events program and, you know, dedicating some resources to that fundraising piece. That's pretty crucial to our event plan moving forward.
My team, definitely with the grants team, we're putting in grants most of the year for our events. We've had really good support. We also have very good corporate sponsors. We have a designated role in my team that seeks sponsorship both ways, for mutual benefit, which is fabulous. And also just to offset some of the costs, so that we can grow these events and not come back to the budget and ask for money, which is exciting. 10K is really great from TEQ. It's a first step. So we can go up from there. It's kind of a test case, which we're really confident about. And we also have some applications actually just going in this week for Spark with QUASP, and our state members have been great in supporting writing letters of endorsement for those kind of things. So yeah, it's something that we do regularly.
We will host Stirling Hinchcliffe very well, I think. Wonderful. Any other questions? No. So I will seek a mover. Thank you, Councillor Fechner, and a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Doyle. Any discussion? No.
No, just that I look forward to seeing how this event has grown, and my calendar's filling up fast. I do have, I have promised the nieces and nephews that we'll go to PTA again this year, but in that promise comes their promise to me that we won't just line up for an hour again this year so that they can get on a digger and pretend like they're operating it. So I hope that I'm glad to hear there's going to be more equipment for them to look at and play in, because that was just one of the biggest things for all of the small kids that went last year. It was chaotic. It was so busy. And I can't wait to get into the mix again this year. And touch wood, the weather is kind to us.
It'll just be another opportunity for you to hone your negotiation skills. With some toddlers. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it as well. And the retro picnic at Goodna under the beautiful trees in the park, it's going to be fantastic. So without any further discussion, I'll move that on to a vote. All those in favour? Wonderful, unanimous and carried. Thank you. And that closes down the end of our Economic Industry Development Committee, closing at 12:04. And the next one will be in 12:14. Thank you.